top of the morning to you. This is This Morning on ITV, right here on Independent Television. Welcome on board. Always a delight to have you join us on the show every single morning. I am Nuoluwakbo Stephen. There's so much to talk about today. So all you have to do is sit down, relax. For the next 3 hours, we're going to take you through a ride from politics, what is going on in Nigeria, and also outside the country as well. And we'll also delve into trending conversations online on TMI socials. So it's really no longer news that the former Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, has been sentenced to 75 years in prison over 33.8 million naira fraud. Now, Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court yesterday sentenced the former Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, to 75 years imprisonment in absentia over a 33.8 billion naira money laundering and fraud case instituted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. So the court convicted Maman on all 12 counts filed against him by the anti-graft agency, holding that the prosecution proved its case beyond reasonable doubt. And of course, Justice Omotosho ordered that the prison terms would run consecutively and not concurrently, bringing the total jail term to 75 years. Now that's a lot. Well, joining me this morning on the show, I also have Harry Iboje right here on the table. Good morning, Harry.
Beautiful morning to you, Anu. How are you doing?
Very well. Great conversation to kickstart our morning today. What do you make out of this? And I'm sure you've been following the trend lately.
Well, in all sincerity, I actually haven't followed much, but of course, it's a trending issue, and I think we made mention of this some time ago on the show. The fact that the minister in question served under the late President Buhari, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, I remember saying back then that one of the intriguing things about our leaders or politicians is that they do not learn from the mistakes of their predecessors. And one would have thought that, you know, given the spate of, should I say, corruption cases and all of that, that some politicians in the past have been fingered in, you know, people like him would learn, but unfortunately, they never learn, you know, and the circle just continues until, you know, it repeats itself. Well, I'm actually not surprised because corruption is like, you know, the order of the day in this part of the world, and it seems like it's never ending anytime soon because, you know, like some persons have actually argued, it's endemic. It's part and parcel of the society. In fact, that's eaten so deep into the fabrics of the society that, you know, it's hard to see someone who doesn't exhibit traits of corruption nowadays. So, I mean, 75 years is a lot, a whole lot. And I'm just trying to picture.
That's like spending the rest of your life right there
that
in
sounds
prison.
That sounds like life in prison to me.
Right.
You understand? And this is supposed to serve as some sort of lesson to, you know, future leaders, future politicians, people who are aspiring for one, you know, elective position or the other, or, you know, appointment or the other.
Right.
This calls for a lot of, you know, retrospect. But sadly, like I said, they never really learn. And imagine 33.8 billion naira, you know, for one person. It actually just goes to tell you that these people really don't care about the myriads of Nigerians that are suffering out there.
Absolutely. That really, truly is a lot. Let me bring on board now Patricia Gabriel from Lagos, Nigeria, to really talk about this because it's a whole lot and we should really have our voices being heard and also speak for an average Nigerian at this point. Patricia Gabriel, good morning.
Good morning, Anu, and good morning, Harry. It's good to have you on the screen this morning with me.
Well, good to see you as always. Now, let's hear your take on this recent issue and conversation. 75 years been sentenced over a 33.8 billion naira fraud. The former Minister of Power, Maman. What do you make out of this? And could this also be the reason why we're still grappling with, you know, deficits or terrible power system here in Nigeria? That's what some Nigerians are saying at this point. Patricia.
Anyway, I know that's a lot of money. If you ask me, it's actually a lot of money for just one person to hold on to in Nigeria, where we're struggling with a whole lot of development, like having a steady power, good roads, hospitals, schools, and as much as you can think about. And then just one person is holding on to that money. But then again, the numbers given to him is a lot to be able to, send a warning to other politicians or other leaders who will be coming on board to be sure that they stay away from corruption and focus on what they have been appointed for to do. But again, the question is, he's not been the only one that has been stealing, let me use that word, or that have been a corrupted politician. We have a whole lot of them, and then I don't think anyone has been sentenced to this long number of years. So your question is, why him? Do they want to use him as a scapegoat, or they want to use him to teach other politicians a lesson? We've had politicians who had stolen so much money too. Some were given 2 years, some were given 1 year, and some were let loose. Let's take example of the former Kogi State governor. He's still on the loose, walking up and down the country and even planning to run for the seat of the Senate for Kogi Central. And we all know how much money has been tied to him by EFCC, and nothing has been done to him. So I don't know if this is going to be a scapegoat, or he's just going to be sent out there as a lesson to other politicians. I know.
Well, Yahaya Bello reminder this morning was just totally hilarious, because I remember when the EFCC boss says that if he doesn't get him, he's going to resign. And this is 2026 already. Man is still rolling and moving like he didn't say anything at all regarding that. But anyway, I'd also love us to react to a recent, well, not necessarily a recent, but it resurfaced online again, because the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023 election, Peter Obi, has yet again reiterated his point that he just wants to serve Nigerians for one term, meaning he only wants to do one term as president, and that has sparked a debate online. And it actually begs the question of, really, is 4 years enough to change the trajectory of Nigeria completely? I remember someone categorically asking if 1 year is enough to fix Nigeria's economy, to fix the debt, to fix insecurity without borrowing. Patricia.
Okay, yes, I also heard that, and I saw it online on the social media, where he said he was going to do just one term. And he also said the one term is just to set Nigeria straight. Yes, it might not be enough to, put everything, try to make sure electricity works, or the healthcare section is working perfectly. But he's saying he was going to make things work straight, especially in the corruption area. At least that will be reduced or completely stopped. And then when everything is set aligned and set straight, any other government that is coming to take over should be able to continue from where he stopped. I think that's his plan.
Well, let me hear your take on this, Harry. Do you think he's just being all political with what he's saying, or he truly means it? Because then again, it's politicians, right? You could say one thing today, and then the next thing you're saying, I didn't say that. When did you hear me say that, right? So how do you see it?
Well, I think it's different. It's a case of different strokes for different folks, right? Some persons would call it a political statement, but I personally would rather see it as him being modest. Okay, I think if anybody knows Peter Obi, one thing you can't take away from him is his modesty. He's always trying not to sound or come across as overbearing.
But then again, is that what we really need in the political scape in Nigeria?
I personally believe.
Well, we can only wait and hope and see how it would eventually pan out. That's if he's even going to become president come 2027 in Nigeria. That's really another conversation, but we
is.
can only hope if, well, because a lot of Nigerians are actually looking forward to him leaving out of the statement.
Well, I think one of the big questions is what gives Nigerians that much faith in him? You understand? Because you see, that for me, that is the major question. All right. Some persons always allude to his performance as the governor of Anambra State and all of that. I think that's a good one, but the question is, do we think that's enough proof that he can deliver as president? Well, I guess we're just going to have to keep our fingers crossed and wait for the outcome. That is, like you said, absolutely. If he becomes president. Of
course, if, a very conditional word there, if. Now, back to you, Patricia. Let's get what we will be having from your end this morning. Patricia, please.
Thank you, Anu. Okay, so from Lagos Network Studio this morning, my guest and I will be talking about debt-fueled development, promises versus reality for Nigerians, President Bola Tinubu's borrowing policies, the impact on everyday Nigerian citizen. We know that the president has been borrowing very recently, and then we want to know what the promises and the reality is for Nigerians for this borrowing. And we also know that as Nigerians, we are all the ones borrowing. We're owing, if you ask me. And then at least a lot of people have tried to do the mathematics, and then it looks like each Nigerian is owing about 7-point-something million naira as at today. So my guest and I later on today will be looking at all of these and try to make reality out of this borrowing. Anu.
Here in Edo State, Nigeria, our conversation will be regarding the state of education in the country. The recent policy reforms that we've seen over time in the educational sector in Nigeria. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has been vocal lately, and we're going to, dissect some of the latest policy review we're seeing coming out from that end. One of which is JAM actually retaining the 150 benchmark as quarter mark for admission come 2026 to the 2027 academic session. There's also been a conversation regarding mathematics no longer relevant for some courses that you want to go for, and NUT coming out to object and say we're not in support of what the federal government is doing at this point because it is degrading the educational system in Nigeria. We'll talk about all that and more on the show today, and then we'll also tilt our attention to the health sector and talk about the hantavirus conversation and everything basically that you need to know about it. Well, all of this and more right after this break.
ITV, certainly the best.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe Society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of Benin, and others put theirs at his feet.
Oh, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us on the show. Now let's look at a couple of national dailies this morning as we kickstart with the first daily newspaper. The big headline on board says court jails ex-minister Maman, 75 years, over 33.8 billion naira fraud. We actually rubbed mind on it earlier on the show during the opening this morning. Well, away from that, federal government sets June 12 deadline for nationwide digital TV switch off, or switch over rather. Well, we're looking forward to that, especially right here in the broadcasting industry. Well, still on the first daily this morning, UN demands probe into Nigerian Chadian airstrikes over civilian death. ADC has moved on from Obi Kwankwaso exit. Who is speaking? Abdullahi, the spokesperson for the ADC. Fubara shuts down defection rumors, declares loyalty to APC. We'll talk more about that on TMI Socials this morning. Away from that, Nollywood actor Alex Ukubo died of kidney cancer. Family speaking, really quite a sad one that through social media in morning yesterday. Well, in sports, Toby Amosa wins Nigeria's first gold at African Athletics Championships. NDLEA intercepts 10.4 billion naira Canadian loud at Lagos Port. And finally, on First Daily this morning, Nigerian pilgrim dies in Mecca during Hajj. Well, that's all the First Daily have for us today, Harry.
All right, let's now shift our gaze to the New Telegraph. And the New Telegraph has this disclaimer that says UN calls for independent probes into Nigeria-Chad airstrikes. UN calls for independent probes into Nigeria-Chad airstrikes, and that's on page 3 and 29 of the New Telegraph newspaper. And the writers here say, DHQ insists no civilian casualties in Zamfara bombings. DHQ insists no civilian casualties in Zamfara bombings. And next to that, terrorism, Lakurawa members killed 2 customs officers in Kebbi. CGS, terrorism, Lakurawa members killed 2 custom officers in Kebbi, CGS. And right above the masthead, Tinubu arrives in Kigali to reaffirm Nigeria's commitment to advancing Africa unity, others. And that's on page 3 of the New Telegraph. And still above the masthead, Orji Kalu receives Timeline Award for Outstanding Contribution. And that's on page 2 of the New Telegraph. And then this other one says, I've not gone anywhere. I'm an APC member. And that's credited to Fubara of River State. I have not gone anywhere. I am still an APC member, Fubara. And that's on page 4 of the New Telegraph right now. And then next to that is report. Saudi Arabia, UAE launched covert attacks on Iran as regional war widens. Now, this is actually quite interesting because a couple of months ago we thought this was never, the war was never going to degenerate to this point where the brothers would, take up arms against themselves. But and still on the New Telegraph, zoning constitutionally, morally acceptable, opposing it an anomaly. and that's credited to General Ikbome, retired. Zoning constitutionally, morally acceptable, opposing it an anomaly. General Ikbome, retired. And finally, on the New Telegraph this morning, NUC World Bank signed $65 million performance contract with 6 varsities. NUC World Bank signed $65 million performance contract with 6 varsities, and that's on page 2 of the New Telegraph this beautiful morning. Anu.
The Guardian newspaper is up next, leading with a major headline that says IMF exposes Nigeria's budgeting gaps as execution crisis deepen on page 6. Well, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, we have beautiful illustrations to really talk about what is going on with the Nigeria's fiscal fragility, the rising cost of budgets in discipline. So do well to pick up a copy of The Guardian to stay abreast with that information. UN urges independent probes into deadly Nigeria-Chad airstrikes on page 3. Cyst misconception ends as PCOS officially becomes PMOS. Well, wondering what this means, on page 2 you get details of this report. Aviation protest assault demands sanction of Air Force personnel on page 8. APC battle screening rural defections, violence fears over primaries. Are we going to be expecting or seeing an inburst or implosion within the APC? Well, we'll find out shortly. On page 6, you get details of that. Fire say rallies Ekiti APC supporters for Oyebanji's re-election on page 8, and you have the picture right there to illustrate what happened in Ekiti State. Finally, on The Guardian this morning, federal government fixes June for nationwide digital TV switch over on page 5. Wike defends visit to APC chairman, condemns politics of enmity. Okay, I feel like this is quite a great note to end the newspaper review segment, with Wike defending his visit to APC chairman and condemning politics of enmity. Already we have it's in the news or all over the media platforms that perhaps he has been running more or less like a two-party, PD APC. Well, him coming out to say, you know what, I do not operate on politics of enmity, is really quite good. Politics, indeed, they say, is a game of interest. Well, we quickly take a short break, and when we return, we move over to the first leg of the conversation this morning. Please don't go anywhere.
the land of Owa is inhabited by the people with common ancestry, language, religion, economic and socio-political ties. However, irrespective of their subtitle differences in language and culture, they share common traditions. The people are known for their hospitality. Owan traced their origin to Benin Kingdom as a result for a man to find a comfortable place for living. The name Owan was derived from the largest and longest river in the area, which is known as Onwian or Onwa. It means one who makes merry in affluence.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Now let's talk education, as the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAM has retained 150 as the cutoff mark for admission into universities for the 2026-2027 academic session. So JAM announced this during its policy meeting in Abuja on Monday, where it said the decision followed a vote of vice chancellors available at the meeting. Now it said the cutoff for colleges of nursing is 150, while for polytechnics it was 100 of the 400 obtainable marks. The scores, known as the National Minimum Tolerable, that's the UTME scores, indicate that no tertiary institution is allowed to admit candidates who score below the agreed benchmarks. But schools are generally permitted to set higher cutoff for applicants seeking admission. Now, our educational system in the country is, should we say, is deteriorating? Because I remember when it was pegged at 200, 180, a lot of persons raised alarm over it, and now we are seeing 150. What do you think also informed the decision of the Minister of Education? We also had our Vice Chancellors were also there present at the meeting for JAM to really settle at 150, and we also have 100 for polytechnics and monotechnics. Are we going forward or moving backward?
It's a very good question. Generally, we are not moving forward. Generally, just like what she said, it's not just the mark or the cutoff, it's about the whole system. But that benchmark, 150, to me, you know, when you are making policy is geared towards a purpose. So you check the purpose. I think the main aim there is to have wider accessibility to tertiary education or higher education as it may be. But what I see there is that I think the angle she's saying is not just that. There is the need for the total overhauling. Now, when you are making policy and because in Nigeria, there's something that policies are made every now and then, but go to the implementation. And the implementation should be geared towards the purpose of the policy. Like I said, policy on this cutoff mark is to widen. Where we have less than 35% having access to higher education, now we want to increase it and widen it. Now, it's actually a good action with a good intention. But now, is it visible? In your intro, you said something about universities are free to raise their whatever. I want to tell you that the implementation of this, I'm sorry to say, there are crops of things I can refer to that you can prove if what I'm saying is true. We had a policy on UBEC Act in 2004. Today this is about 22 years later. I want to tell you many have not been implemented. So implementation to achieve the aim is the aim I'm talking about. So if that is the case and they are able to achieve the aim, like if you look at that policy that was this cutoff mark, there's also the innovation schools, polytechnic, raising some things just to make sure what is the aim. The aim is to ensure, and it's actually good. You know, there is a curriculum we have adopted in Nigeria that's actually, it's not really too good for us. If we go to somewhere like China or India, it's even better. Where you have digitalization, like she said, you have industrial action, you have skill acquisition, educational system. It will be better. Now, but we adopted Nigeria, British, and this, and today we are, because education should be geared towards solving societal issues. Societal issues. So as it is in Nigeria today, that benchmark could be applauded, but achieving the intention of it is what, through the implementation, is what I'm really concerned about.
Dr. Shala, intention over purpose, if I'm to say. Should we take intention as against the main core of the conversation? Because right now, we get to see chunks of graduates that we have in the country, especially in core courses like medicine, where you have to work with lives and people. I remember seeing someone coming and crying on socials and said, how did we get here? 150 and 100 for polytechnics, where in Nigeria currently we have persons who are not even, you know, well enough, who cannot defend their certificate, and then we're saying that the education minister is still, you know, moving it backward. You want to react to that?
If I get you correctly, the intention of the education minister is just like my colleague here said, is to ensure that we can accommodate as many intending graduates into the basket of tertiary education. However, like I said earlier, in Nigeria we are known for dealing with the symptoms, not the cause of a lot of these issues, right? As much as the intention may be genuine, just like you said, what is the far-reaching implications of the steady lowering of the bar when it comes to young adults accessing tertiary education, you simply find, I remember, for example, a bit of a diversion, when the benchmark, when there was, I think sometime early this year or last year, when it was rumored that the minister said mathematics was not a compulsory subject for people who wanted to study law. And you could see how you saw a sigh of relief among children. Oh, I don't have to study maths, including my child. But you see, the policy is not to make it easy. The policy, in my opinion, should make access easy. However, we're supposed to go back and say, from the foundational level, how do we prepare these children for the entrance exams into tertiary institutions? And sadly, successive governments come in and they come up with policies to address, again, the symptoms. I would recommend, quite frankly, that there should be an overhaul of our educational system from the foundation. You see, this government may do their turn and leave, and then the next government comes in and brings, you now find a lot of policy. In fact, that was one of the issues I had. I said, look, even if this government says maths is not compulsory, we should not be having a convo around you saying you want to say maths is not compulsory. A new administration may come and say, oh, you must have mathematics now. So the minimum 5 credits, maths and English compulsory across subjects. But you see, that is what you find with policy flip-flops. However, if we're going to do good to these children or for these children, we must go back and say, at the foundational early childhood education level, what is the process of children moving from early childhood to middle, to basic education, to post-basic education? If we solve all of the problems that we have across this value chain, we won't be even talking about scores, because the children will be prepared for exam. For example, now I understand UTME is digitalized now, right?
Right.
But what is the digital acceptance or penetration as a country right now? Take out the city centers, even within Edo State. What is the digital penetration? Access to digital penetration. So the children you're asking to take this exam, so several factors are responsible for the low scores of JAMB. That's what I'm going to. So the scores are not the problem. How do they access these exams? Again, you also have the proliferation of miracle centers. So what you're going to see now is, even if you say it's at 150 minimum score, the choice courses and professions are still going to be high. Right? So what you're still going to see is, even though you have said at 150, schools are still going to peg their benchmark at whatever they decide to.
Okay. Now, let me go back to you, Mr. Adele. Let's talk about the waiver that we also did see was introduced on Monday. I did hear the Minister of Education also reiterating that in some programs, like the NCE programs moving forward, and also the one that has to do with the agricultural, non-technical programs and non-technical programs moving forward, you would not need the UTME. It's just a smooth ride. And that also sparked reactions. In fact, the NUT as a body, the president came out to object to it and say, hey man, you are actually making these things worse than you even met it, and it's also going to affect the impact and the kind of personnel that we see churn out to become teachers and to become agriculturists. Do you also tell in that line?
No, thank you. Dr. Alausa, the Honorable Minister for Education. You see, I think to everything when it comes to government, I feel there is the infiltration of politics. And I used to say that when it comes to education and health, they are social services. Politics should be out of it. Now, why do I say that? There is this posture of trying to make the people have access to education. I want to please the generality. Why you compromise standard? I'm sorry to, I don't know. That's my observation. Now, why will they have, what do you call it, smooth ride? Agriculture? What do you call it now?
NCE.
NCE.
It has to do with education.
We're talking about professional in teaching. One of the most important professions in the world. Now, you are saying they should just register. I think they said they will just have access to, they will just register, then
you don't need the
UTME. Why? Instead, I would prefer that they should be tested in that line. They should be tested in agricultural science and the relevant subjects. They should be tested just because you want them to. The repercussion or the outcome will be that we have professionals coming out of these same not really professional.
Right.
Yes, that is it. Then secondly, the education institution, I'm talking about the NC institutions, high institutions, the agricultural high institutions, the technical high institutions, how much of the facilities or how much of the what is needed to produce standard or standardization, how much of them do we have there? Okay. So I think the attention should be shifted to standard.
Absolutely. I think we need to just hang on that, you know, salient question you did ask right now. So we really need to take a short break. When we return, we move over to the final laps of the conversation. Please stay. Thank you so much for staying with us. If you're just joining, you're on to This Morning on ITV, and our conversation Thursday has been regarding the state of education in Nigeria, review of the recent policy emanating from JAM. So I listened to one of the officials from JAM yesterday at his sister station, and he was actually defending the policy regarding the waiver of UTME for some certain professional courses. And he said that when you move over to some countries to study, like you want to go to America to study or Canada, you don't even need the UTME. So it's just here in Nigeria that you need all of that to be part of that particular professional course. And he actually did state that one of the major reasons why we even have JAM and the UTME is to control the number of students that are thrown into the universities, because we do not have enough facility to get everybody on board. So it's not necessarily about your level of competency or how smart you are basically educationally. It's because we need to have some certain number of persons in school at some point, and that's why we get to see all of that happen. I would love you to react to it, Dr. Oshola. Do you think he's actually, you know, making sense in what he's saying regarding that?
Well, in my honest opinion, he's very correct, right? So let's look at it two ways. The first is, what's the purpose of UTME? Again, it goes back to policy development and implementation. What's the brain behind a lot of these policies, right? So if we ask, what has UTME served since its inception, since they came up with the entire UTME policy for children accessing tertiary education? However, in my candid opinion, I think that for professions like education, teaching and all of that, they keep reducing the bar or lowering the bar, and it's a source of concern. Now again, I said earlier that we have a culture in Nigeria of dealing with the symptoms, not the causes. So we have a lot of young people not interested in education. Now when you consistently lower the bar for access or accessing courses in education, what you simply are saying is that anybody or just about anybody can come in, yet you have higher scores, for instance, for medicine and for law. We're not asking ourselves, why are people not interested in education? That is the cause. So lowering the scores would not necessarily mean getting people in education. Because what you simply mean is you just allowed more people who may not be competent to be in tertiary institutions access tertiary education, but they will not be teachers. For example, we've had series of policy flip-flops in previous administration. And then now we are scrapping UTME for certain people and saying, oh, some colleges are supposed to do dual, etc., etc. I think that if the minister really wants to do a good job and, you know, write his name in the sands of time, we should go back and look at what the data says concerning admission via UTME and not. So if the JAMB official is saying UTME was just more of a bureaucracy, then it begs the question, who is to say this is not also about bureaucracy?
Well, I remember saying a particular young man, 27 years, he has a PhD, and then he was saying he doesn't even have a job, even after getting PhD. And then we're talking about why young persons are no longer interested in education in Nigeria. But as we get to leave the conversation here, what role do you think parents, teachers should play in improving student performance moving forward beyond only the cutoff marks?
Okay, as teachers, we should see ourselves at role model, and we're molding destiny, life, tomorrow. So it should go beyond only the classroom standing and dishing out instructions. It should go beyond that. And we should actually imbibe this, how do I put it now? Bring in, ensure that we have these skills subjects. These, how can somebody have PhD doesn't have job? How can I be 27 years of my life and I've not had a skills thinking in my head on what to do? Are you getting it now? So that is very, very important as a teacher or as teacher. Then as parents, you know, parents actually, it's actually the system that makes parents to take some action. However, I'm not dropping the old faults on the bus stop of the system. Parent, because we are the system. The parent are the system. Parent has the role to ensure that you help your children, that they become not just job seekers but job provider. They create environment that we actually determine the kind of choice of the school you choose, the way you actually train them or pattern them or like model them. Right. Also, there is this general money, social money idea, the consciousness of say your child or your children just bringing money, they make money irrespective of what they do. If that is removed and we place value on values, right, I think we'll get it right.
Value on values, I like that. Now, moving back to you, Dr. Shola, what reforms do you think the educational system in Nigeria needs to do to restore the confidence in Nigerians?
Thank you so much. I think successive administrations have had reforms, but the one thing that has been lacking is data-driven reforms, right? Encompassing and easy to implement reforms are reforms rather that are based on data. For example, do we have data right now on why we have data on the number of children who did well and who didn't do well. But we have that data at the exit point, right? We don't have data right now across the early childhood education to the primary to the secondary education. Most importantly, the reforms must be total. What you find now is a disconnect between even the private sector and the public sector education system, right? Across states, you do not have a unifying reform that leads to everybody on the same page. So the reform must be total, and that reform must be such that stakeholders are involved, the parents, the operators in the education sector, and government. What we find most times is people come into power and there are reforms that we want to have reforms that is an offshoot of town hall meetings, right? When the far-flung communities in our country are able to air their opinion on why this should be this and that should be that, and we will have those total encompassing engagement, you see the reform become progressive. Okay,
well, I really must thank you so much, Dr. Shola Okun-Polo, PhD, educationist, multidimensional professional, and international developmental expert. You are also the former executive director for Edo State Agency of Mass Education, Edo Sabi-Reid. Thank you so much for coming this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And also, I have been speaking to Mr. Oladele Ogundele, State Secretary, Association for Formidable Educational Development here in Edo State. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, let's just hope that things get better eventually within our educational system in Nigeria, because they say that the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, and we need strong, competent, credible youth to lead and take over the shores of the nation. That's our bits right here for now. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll talk about health and a lot more.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Ugemobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Welcome on board. We're back and we are live. Now, we have Comrade Dodo Emmanuel. He's here to talk about ahead of 2027 election. APC Isako East reaffirms earlier zoning of Edo State House of Assembly seat to North Ibie. Thank you so much for coming, Comrade Dodo. So let's talk about the primaries. What really is going on right now?
Well, about 3 months ago, the leadership of the party, led by Honorable Abubakar Momo, the Minister of Regional Development, called leadership meeting, and they do a zoning. So which day before yesterday, the party reaffirmed the zoning of the House of Assembly position to North Ibie. So, and that does not place on persons. You know, this man, my cousin, Honorable Kingsley Ogabi, is from my ward, is my cousin, is contesting for the 4th tenure. And the people have said no. allow it to move to the next place. We have 3 zones in Isako East. We have the Ageneboda zone, the Okbela zone, and the North Ibje zone. The North Ibje zones happen to be the minority. In quote, they have 2 wards. So that House of Assembly position left Okbela zone 2007 from Jega, Honorable Abad Jega, to Isako East to Ageneboda, where late Honorable Peter Liu spent 8 years in the office.
Okay.
Then in 2015, Honorable Kingsley Ogabi took over from him.
From where?
I didn't get you.
I mean, where is Honorable Kingsley Ogabi from? What part of the...
As Guinea-Buda zone.
Okay, so you're saying that North EBA hasn't produced one ever since?
No, that was then, before the 2009, before this democratic era.
Okay, so according to the zoning arrangement, it's not EBA's turn?
It's not EBA's turn. It is their turn, although if it's not zoned, we might have some political shift.
Squabbles, okay.
So the party came together to take that decision, to take that position to not TB for fairness, for equity. So we, the party, have asked Honorable Kingsley Ogabi, after 3 years wasted, allow somebody else to go.
When you say wasted, are you saying he hasn't achieved anything tangible?
Well, there is nothing tangible that you can see. If you are from there.
From your own perspective?
From everywhere, because it's my cousin. I like him, he's very handsome. But when you come to the work, it's not there. How do you justify a man about on Sunday for the past almost 10 years, a bit 11 years now, 11 years plus a month, he will be leaving the office by May. And so for the past since 2015, he has done one empowerment.
Wow.
And that was, you saw it, he gave 3 kg of gas cylinder to people, 10 per ward, for the past 10 years.
That's
so
the only empowerment he has done.
That is the one we see. And they said it's a secret achiever. In politics, achievement is in the public. So that is what we saw. So, but it's outside that. Fairness.
Okay.
Demand that the position should leave.
And move to the next zone.
Move to the minority.
All right, but how do you think he feels now, seeing his cousin move against his continuity?
Not his cousin, the party structure.
Okay.
I've said that Mr. Kingsley Ogabi, please step down.
Okay.
We have 2 aspirants in the North TB. Any of them, you can step down for them. Or preferably step down for the party, because the party is supreme. He bet in going to the primaries. I can tell you that the primaries will not bypass the party.
So are there structures in place to ensure that the zoning actually stands to North Ibia this time?
It stands already.
But is there any opposition? Is anybody opposing?
Yes, the man himself is opposing it.
But then again, after spending 3 years, shouldn't be, I want to even know if you have... 3 tenure, right? So I want to even know if you have structures that says this is the number of tenure a particular person should spend in an office.
Is it clearly stated?
Or it's just the zoning conversation?
The Constitution gives power to everybody for lawmakers to run as long as your people
want.
So you're saying that the Constitution has no respect for zoning?
No, the Constitution mainly does not have that respect for zoning.
Okay.
But zoning comes in because the people want to have peace.
Okay.
If zoning did not come, the current governor will not be governor.
All right.
Because he came from the minority, Okbawuru. But today we can see what the man is doing. So we can tell you that zoning is good. because it has been proved right.
Okay.
So that is why we have decided to zone.
All right, thank you very much. I guess this is where we'll have to leave the conversation.
No, just before we leave it, we need to get your final words you would have to the person who's opposing and also to, the people of North Ibi at this point.
First, my final words is on the person that is contesting, Honorable Kingsley Ogabi. Please listen to the party. You are a product of the party. The party gave you this ticket on the planter of gold for 3 consecutive times. This time around, the party want to change position. Listen to us. Or to those where we are zoning into. We have 2 candidate aspirants there.
Right. Okay.
And those 2 aspirants, and one is also from minority. So let them also go to the minority and choose from the minority.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We really need to hang it on here at this point, but thank you so much for coming in to air your view concerning the issue. Well, you're still on to TMI right here in Benin studio. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll talk some more about health.
ITV, certainly the best.
In a rare display of botanical brilliance, the palm tree defied natural norms, sprouting multiple branches that bear fruits. This rare occurrence has become a wonder to many, as experts are calling it a one-in-a-million phenomenon. Could this multiple-headed marvel hold secrets to agricultural breakthroughs, or is it simply a freak accident of nature? An agronomist with Nigeria Institute for Oil Palm Research, NIFOR Benin. The strange palm tree also raises issues of a blend of science with human interest and cultural significance for maximum impact.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us. If you just joined, you're still on to the program TMI on ITV. Now, let's move over to talk about health. Well, this time around, the WHO, the World Health Organization, has come out to say there is no public health risk regarding the hantavirus outbreak. Well, joining us virtually from Delta State, Nigeria, is George Hamem. He's a biologist at Western Hospital right there in Delta State. Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you so much for joining today.
Morning, I know. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. But real quickly, thank you so much for staying up until this moment. Really appreciate your time. Now let's talk. What really is going on with the regard to hantavirus, and what really is hantavirus, and what are the causes of it? Can you run us through it?
So, before I start, my name is George Aham. Okay, so the son is Aham. And like you mentioned earlier, I'm a biologist with Western Hospital Warrior. Let's go straight to the question that you asked. What exactly is hantavirus? Now, hantavirus is a zoonotic virus. What do I mean by a zoonotic virus? It is a kind of virus that jumps from one animal to another. Now, in this particular case, the jumping that we're discussing about is that is jumping from rodent to human being. Now, that sounds like something very similar that we've heard about a lot. So we've heard about the Lassa fever, rodent. Rodent, a typical example of rodents that we have near our houses are the rats. So this particular organism we are discussing about is jumping from the rodent, in this case, which is rat, to human beings. But the difference between the hantavirus and the Lassa fever is that the Lassa fever would have to wait for the droppings, so droppings of the rat, the urine, the feces, the fecal matter to drop off in your food. And then when you ingest it, you now have this symptoms manifesting as Lassa fever. But that of hantavirus is entirely different. The hantavirus is airborne. Another condition that you can associate with this is the COVID. It's airborne. So when you breathe it in, droplets, dust particles from these rodents in your house, when you breathe it in, that's when it begins to affect you. So in this case, it is a respiratory disease condition, pulmonary disease condition. It doesn't affect you the way Lassa fever affects, but now it attacks your respiratory system. Of course, part of the symptoms that you can experience will include the normal headache, fever, weakness of your muscles, and then of course it would proceed to tightness of the chest and difficulty in breathing. Then you know at this particular point in time you need to quickly run to the hospital.
Why has the World Health Organization stated that the current hantavirus outbreak does not pose a major public health risk?
Okay, so the fatality rate, according to the statistics available, is between 10 to 50%. Now, WHO have said it doesn't put this particular trace that we have, doesn't put a public health risk because of the number of cases that we have so far. As of now, what we are dealing with is just about 11, 15 cases, so not more than 25 cases globally. So that is not enough to say and you have a pandemic just like when we had COVID in the other time. But it is something to take very serious. And I'm worried or I'm concerned about how serious we take it because of the mode of transmission. When you say something, I have to come in contact with you. touch you before I get infected by any particular disease condition. Okay, I'm not so much worried. So if I stay a distance, I'm not going to contract this particular virus. But the difference in this particular case is that if I breathe around it, if the dust particles are in the air, if you have the aerosol soiled or contaminated by these droplets from the rodent that is already infected by this antivirus, then I stand the chance of being infected by this particular organism. So I would rather say, I know the WHO has said that there is no so much risk at this point in time. I would rather say we take it as serious as possible because it could just move from this and become something else. And you don't want to have a situation like that. We don't want to have that kind of outbreak.
All right, George. From what you've said, all it takes to catch antivirus is just to inhale, unlike Lassa fever that requires you to ingest anything that's contaminated by the droppings of rodents. Now, what are the preventive measures that are being put in place to ensure that this does not become a major problem? Because it's a good thing that the WHO has come out to say the risk level is not as serious as that of Lassa fever. But what measures do you think the WHO, or should I say health practitioners, are putting in place to ensure that this does not become a major problem that will have everyone running helter-skelter?
That question, and I was just about to go there because without discussing this aspect of the conversation, everybody will just continue to panic. Now, like I've mentioned earlier, you are dealing with dust particles from the droplets. Droplets include fecal matter, will include urine, but you will get it more from the fecal matter than you get from the urine because urine is wet and so it's not easily being carried by air. Now, the first thing we need to do is to ensure that there are no rodents in your house. Now, part of the things that causes rodent infestation in the house is that as much as possible, try and clean your house. Get everywhere cleaned up. It's just like when we're discussing about mosquitoes and we talk about stagnant water, dirty environment, cutting the bushes around the use mosquito nets. But in this case, we are talking about avoiding deaths that could attract rats. The second thing is if it's in your house already, you already have rats in your house. As much as possible, when you see rats dropping, do not just carry broom and start sweeping. Very, very, very important. This particular point I'm making now. Don't just start sweeping the dropping. What you can do, sprinkle jig on top of that fecal matter that you have in your house. Pour jig, bleach, any kind of disinfectant on it first. When you pour the disinfectant on it, you now use tissue paper with your hand glove and wipe it off. Dispose it carefully and then pull up the hand glove and dispose. In that way, you will make the dust particles heavy. They will not be able to just start spreading in the air. You know, when you pour water on dust, everything just settles. It won't just start, penetrating into the air and people can easily breathe it in. So when you see that, just pour your bleach on it, control that area with disinfectant, and then use your wipe, tissue paper, any of those disposable wipes, wipe it clean with your hand gloves and then dispose. So when you do that, you can now continue sweeping the rest of your house.
Okay, George. Now, finally, should Nigerians be concerned about hantavirus, penetration into the country? Should we be concerned?
Yes, I think they should. In 2026, we'll have 11 cases of hantavirus. And out of the 11 cases, there are 3 deaths already. So I think we should be concerned, not necessarily because many people have died or many people have been infected, but we should be concerned because of the kind of environment that we live in, the kind of lifestyle that our people have chosen to live, the kind of the poverty uh, uh, um, infestation in our country, poverty, the impact is having on us, the fact that people cannot afford to have a clean environment, the fact that people just want to get by, just let us manage anyhow. They are not really interested in all those other things. When you are able to feed well, you can start discussing about going to clean your surroundings. So these are some of the things that we are worried about, and the mode of transmission. So because it's airborne, if you have 20 people in one place, all of them can be infected by breathing the same air in that particular environment. And that is something to worry about. Unlike when there's a contact, I can say, okay, I'll wear hand gloves. When I touch you, I will not get infected by it. But you cannot stop breathing. Except, okay, you now want to start talking about everybody wearing nose masks. You create more panic. So we should all be careful and pay attention to these rodents. When you see them, you try to stop them from coming into our house. I know the normal traditional way of our life, we are used to living with rodents every day. So, but as much as possible, try to ensure that they are not in your house. And if you can ensure that they are not in your house, you can now, if peradventure one comes in, try and apply the method that I've spoken about, which is to ensure that you wet that place with a disinfectant where you are seeing the fecal matter.
Okay, Mr.
When you
George.
wet it,
All right, Mr. George, we really have to leave the conversation here right now, but I really must thank you so much for your time. George, biologist at Western Hospital, thank you so much for joining in on the conversation this morning. Well, we move ahead now to Abuja for more on the show. Please stay with us.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain, which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
ITV, certainly the best.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe Society, amidst singing and dancing, bring
You are still watching This Morning on ITV, and it is time now for the Abuja Network Studio to, of course, present a topic which has to do with the planned borrowing of 1.25 billion US dollars from the World Bank. And this is bringing the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration to borrowing a whopping sum of about 70 to 90 billion dollars. So now let's hear from an economist, Ali Ushao, who shall be telling us what this implies, its implication, and should we continue in this trajectory of borrowing, especially when we have various revenue gateways of the NRS, custom, of course the oil and gas revenue gate, especially with the removal of fuel subsidy. So a very good morning to you, Ali Ushao.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, so can you run with the discussion? Let's start to hear your opening remarks concerning the planned borrowing of President Bola Tinubu? Hello, sir. Hello? 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 Okay, the network seems not to be friendly at this time. You know how it is when it's raining season. The network hardly, hardly gets steady. But we are going to establish another contact with him. The discussion, of course, has to do with the planned borrowing of 1.25 billion US dollars from the World Bank. And the federal government has pegged it on the fact that that amount of money will be revenue.
The land of Owa is
if you look at the non-export earnings, can we not have a that centered around all of that? So we do of borrowing. Because if your budget is humongous and you compare it with your expected revenue, that's definitely going to be deficit. It is the deficit, revenue to fund the budget that we see that most times government, has to look for ways of, blocking the gap, the deficit, and one of the ways is to get loan locally or domestic resource mobilization, or you go to the Western world to get loan. And most times we see that World Bank, and some other very high-profile international clubs also come to aid with loan, and that has to go back to them with interest. So we keep doing this. The implication is on the unborn generation to pay. But again, economists have argued that there's nothing wrong with borrowing, so long as what is borrowed will be used for capital project, so long as what is borrowed will be used for structural development, so long as what is not going to zoom, ways of pay salaries and so on, so long as it's for capital projects that will yield some sort of profit in the near future, or even in the long run, that's nothing wrong. Continue to regularly, when, of course, the more we do.
Inhabited by the people with common ancestry, language, religion, economic and socio-political ties. However, irrespective of their subtitle differences in language and culture, they share common traditions. The people are known for their hospitality. Onwan traced their origin to Benin Kingdom as a result for a man to find a comfortable place for living.
Economics based in Abuja, but the subject matter remains the implication of borrowing additional money from the World Bank. And the federal government actually put it as a loan that will be used to increase, boost investment. It will also be used to create jobs, increase digital technology and support agriculture. And you want to ask, which way are we going to support agriculture? Who are those to benefit if we are going to support agriculture? And what kind of input will be provided to farmers? Say, improve seedling, say fertilizers, say provision of some modern equipment farming, harvester, planter, sprayer, that is on one hand. And then when you talk about digital technology, yes, we need it. It's what is obtainable across the globe now. But we also need to know how much should be allocated. Beautiful when we support agriculture, there's value addition. Because we should be able to see some kind of, employment directly or indirectly. If we are still doing well in cotton, of course, that will be translated into, style. But do we have text in Nigeria? I doubt. If we talk about, converting some fruit, at a time, a particular season where you have mangoes, cashew, at that season they are in abundance, and do Nigerians consume up to 50% of what the yields turn out. But what happens to the other ones? Do we have a system where we convert another? So God message finish into and we move to our Lagos Network studio for continuation of the program.
The name Onwa was derived from the largest and longest river in the area, which is known as Onwa or Onwa. It means one who makes merry in affluence.
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Ugemobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to
They've been in governance for 3 years, and it has been 3 years of continuous hardship.
No, but they will argue with you that this borrowing has been used to, create new roads. But then again, some Nigerians are saying even the old roads that we have had not been maintained. So why borrow to create new roads? But in your own view, don't you think Nigeria needs these new roads, especially the coastal road that is being ongoing right now?
The coastal road you are talking about and the hunger of citizens, how do you reconcile it? Is it the cops that will move on that road? When Nigerians already are crying of hunger, Nigerians are already hungry. They need some immediate intervention. Coastal road, only God knows when they are going to complete that project. And if it continues the way it is now, do you think Nigerians will be alive to plan on that road? So why they are thinking of constructing road, they should also thinking of reducing the hardship of Nigerians, because it is Nigerians that are going to apply that road. There's nothing wrong with the idea of coastal road, but as you plan for coastal road, plan for the people that will apply the coastal road. We still have the issue of insecurity. So how secure is that road? Because we have are not yet secure. How many people can travel by road? If you are traveling by road, you have to have your heart in your hand. A journey that you are supposed to do, that federal government would have provided you with security, you have to be praying your life so that you will not run into the hand of bandits or kidnappers. And then you are also crossing such road. We've not seen what you have, the kind of security you put on the current road that we are in. And then you are constructing. I don't have a problem with the construction. I'm saying this boldly, that Nigerians are more of the immediate, which is their hunger. And it is hunger that will lead to so many crimes. We are not making an excuse for anybody, but that the economy should start reflecting positivity in the life of the citizen. But the way it's going, trying to build more roads, is it road Nigerians are going to eat? Nigerians are hungry. Nigerians are hungry. So if the people around the president are not telling him, we are saying it as citizens. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigerians are hungry. We appreciate the road you are doing, but give us food. Create a system that will bring food on our table. Okay. Create a system that will bring securities to Nigerians.
Okay, Sam. I'm hopefully the rightful authority is listening to you right now. But let's look at the risks associated with this continuous borrowing. What are the biggest risks associated with the continuous borrowing for a developing economy like Nigeria?
The risk there is that if it continues the way it is, that they keep borrowing and it looks like the money disappears along the line, which I want to this money are traceable. If it continues in this manner, the risk is that it's going to become a generational indebtedness, that even the forthcoming generation are going to come to live a life of paying a debt that has long been collected by the some of the past politicians who have been in power. So the risk there is that we may not have a buoyant economy. In fact, our naira may continue to lose its strength because we are not really plotting this money in the direction that we're supposed to actually put it. Because if we do, by now, like I said, it would have started strengthening the strength of our naira. Don't forget, how much do we really have in our foreign reserve? So that's where the matter is. So the risk there is that our naira will continue to get weakened. Our development will be slow because it has to be determined by the lender in some certain cases. So in most cases, we are just at the mercy of those who are lended to us. So for me, if they want this borrowing to start counting, I think the EFCC itself has to start going to work. When the money is deployed to any state for whatever reason, if it is not carried out, the EFCC should go after such people and ensure that, and find out or bring the people to book why that money disappear along the line, rather than spending more energy in some of the things that we don't expect them to spend their time on, which are chasing the Yahoo boys. I'm not in support of Yahoo boys, but we have bigger Yahoos, the ones that they send money to and they don't do the work. I think the FCC should also go there so that the risk will be prevented. Otherwise, the way we are going is going to be, it's not going to be fun.
Before I come to my next question to you, we also saw the former minister has been sentenced to jail for 56 years or 57 years, talking about EFCC. That's why I brought it up. Don't you think the fight for corruption is beginning to start with that?
With only one. Since then, only one. Is he the only one? Is it not in this same country we have some people who have cases with the EFCC as we speak? They have collected form to go for, some of them for Senate. What are we talking about? It's a good step, it's a right step in the right direction, but we need much more than that. One out of all these people. No, it's not funny.
Okay. Some Nigerians feel some Nigerians feel they are paying more tax and facing higher living without improvement. It should be true.
True. The Nigerians are paying higher tax, more tax, and they are going to pay more. The possibility is there that now citizens are going to be paying more. Let me even say that, Pat, you see, I think it's high time that most conversation should be channeled towards maybe getting more lawyers to enlighten the citizen more about their rights. Because I think some of these things, they are taking the citizens, for granted. And I have also even made up my mind that henceforth, I prefer, instead of carrying some title along my name, let me start bearing citizen Sam watching that, just to create that consciousness in me. Because you see, the office of the citizens is the most powerful, office in a democratic setting. Because these same people that detect for us, we actually put them there. And the earlier we start seeing ourselves as the stronger unit of a nation, the better for us. Otherwise, you see, we'll continue to sit down here all the time and talk about this taxation increment, and it looks like we are helpless as citizens. Forgetting that after 4 years, you will see that they've already started. They will leave their high hawks and come to meet you in your locality to beg you for your vote, because they know that you determine if they are going to remain there. So we should be able to start seeing it as citizens, that whatever these people are doing that we are not comfortable with, we have the power to recall them. Some of these things, I think we should have more programs that will bring in some of these lawyers to be able to really explain to citizens some of these things. Because even some of these acts are fraud. When it becomes multiple, you are paying tax on virtually everything. In fact, there are some you pay, they don't even name. And you expect more. You know why? Because the economy itself is biting. So everybody is looking for the way to make money. Everybody is looking for the way. So there are some names, some money that are even collected from the citizen that does not even have a name. So if we talk about that, I can agree 100% that the citizens are paying more, and the possibility of paying much more after 2027 is very high.
Well, some Nigerians say this present National Assembly is a rubber-stamped National Assembly. And so should the National Assembly, do you think they should exercise stricter oversight over government borrowing? It seems once the president says, I want to borrow, they pass it and let it go.
It brings me back to what I said about the citizen. Because you see, whether they are rubber stamp, me, I've never been around there, but for me, it's funny, the rate in which they pass some of this approval. I think there was one that it was passed in 4 hours. Within 4 hours, I was told that it was passed. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think at this point, it is the citizen that will be able to do this nonsense. By recalling some of these lawmakers we actually sent there to ask them, these things you actually doing, is it what we asked you to do there? Explain to us better and clearer. Because they are also part of the reason. But you wouldn't blame them because they are all from the same ruling party. So whatever comes that they feel that is good for the governance will have to fly. So I don't see where they are going to actually make a U-turn. I'm not really seeing where that U-turn will come from. As far as it has started and it has been, coupled with the fact that election is coming. So they need most of this, because somehow, when it is allocated, they may have some cuts from it that will also head the election campaign. So I'm not saying they are going to use it for, but the possibility is also very there. So for me, I'm not really seeing anywhere that there's going to be a U-turn in them having a rethink that this borrowing is too much. If they were, it would have been before now. But now that we're in election season, I don't really see that coming forward.
Okay, talking about the election season, we just were hearing some stories going around saying in the pockets of the APC governors some particular amount of money, and that's the main thing. So do you think also from the borrowing, maybe the borrowing, the money was gotten from the borrowing and it is missing, where is it channeled to?
For me, common sense, because if you have the money, you wouldn't have borrowed. So if there's a money that is missing, it automatically means that it's from the borrowed money. Except if they are telling us that there's money that they are not explaining to us, because the only reason why you borrow is because you don't have. So the situation surrounding it is clear, that it's possible that it is part of the borrowed money that was also missing for that. So we'll see more of this, like I said, because the system over time had been about politics and money, which is very, very wrong. And that's why I said citizenship education is very, very important, so that we get to know. Let's start rejecting some of these offers that these people are giving us and let them know that this is what we want and this is how we. Otherwise, we'll continue to steal and put Nigerians in perpetual poverty and pain, use it as a weapon to cripple Nigeria. You can see even in the social media where some people are now starting sharing money, in the name of empowerment. I think we can do more. There's a system, there's the infrastructure you can put in place that these people would have gone to work and be earning that for their life rather than giving them a one-off. I'm not against empowerment, but when empowerment is about 50,000 naira, with this economy, what do you expect me to do with 50,000 naira? What do you expect me to do with 50,000 naira? So these are the challenge.
Let's move on. Let's look at if this borrowing continues, okay? If the federal government doesn't stop the borrowing and it continues with the pattern that it is going right now, what sectors should receive priority if this borrowing continues for development projects? What sector would you prefer that the borrowed money is channeled to?
They should borrow money and inject it into the economy. Healthcare, very important. We have some cases of people who have lost their life, not because it is time for them to die, it's because of the poor healthcare. Let them create, let there be job creation. We have a lot of Nigerians who are not working. Statistics have it that over 140 million Nigerians have been thrown into multi-dimensional poverty. If there are job creation, revive some of these industries that have died. Inject into power sector. If there is power, our economy can roll freely and yield to us harvest with least a margin. So these are areas they should plug in. That will automatically reduce the hardship of Nigerians. But plugging it into other things which are long-term, which is not bad. But Nigerians at the start now, will they be alive for the long term? So let them deploy it into some of the immediate that will enhance and elevate the hardship of the citizen.
If you're an economist and you're supposed to advise the president or the government of today for an alternative strategy to adapt instead of relying on heavy loans, what would you advise?
Very simple. I am not an economist, but I'm speaking like a public man who I also borrow from time to time to do things and then fix back things. First, I think he has to, you see the issue of corruption. He has to be intentional about dealing with it, because you see this money that looks like it is not always enough. It's still within the hands of some few, which if there's a clear political will to really confront corruption, you will discover that whatever money comes here counts for the nation. So like I said, you see, sometimes when you see the way the president applies and some of the things he says that he wants to do with those loans, truth be told, if they were actually the way he said it, we won't be where we are now. But again, I see no reason why he's not seeing it actualizing, and he seems to lay back on that issue. That's where I'm worried.
And still want to borrow.
I still want to borrow. Rather, I would have questioned the one I brought, because before I gave you money, what are those money? Where are they? And then that's why I said some of these our anti-corruption agency needs to now be fully at work, because some of this money are within the country and it's in the hand of some few Nigeria. So they should be able to, the president should be able to ask questions, and then they should be able to bring those people to book. And whereby you did use the money, you return back the money to the fund. That will also help to cushion the pressure of we always borrowing. And then when we borrow, it tends to just fizzle into the air. So for me, my advice will be corruption. The president should tackle the issue of corruption seriously. And once he does that, you will discover that whatever he borrows will be used for that purpose. But until that is done, he will continue to borrow and keep borrowing, and Nigeria Nigerians will keep asking, where is the money that the president is borrowing?
Let's look at the international lenders and the financial institutions' influence on Nigerians' domestic economic decision, those countries that we borrowed from. Do you think they have influence on Nigerians' domestic economic decisions?
The Holy Book stated it clear that the borrower is subject to the lender. So I'm sure that they themselves could even be suggesting and be offering for more loans, because that gives them a stake. That gives them a saying in your economy, because you've collected from them, so they will detect the tone for you. And I think that part of the problem we're having is that these are some of the reasons why, you see, when we apply for a loan, they tend to give it to you, because they are making us feel like they are even the ones suggesting, don't you think you need this because of this, because of this? And the more you take the loan, you are enslaved to them. So it's a modern day slavery. That's where we are now. So for me, it makes them have a saying, have them make a stake. And even if we want to negotiate with them, our negotiation power is weak because it comes from them. That's why I said, even our Naira, what's the strength of our Naira today to some of their currencies? So these are some of the things that they benefit. And anybody who is on top will always stay on top. And so that's the feel they are applying, not even just to Nigeria, but they are applying it to all the African nations that they have access to, so that they can keep putting Africans in perpetual slavery, so that they can always remain on top. So that's the strategy. It's a new strategy.
Most Nigerians have said even the highest currency in Nigeria, which is the 1,000 Naira note, cannot even afford to buy bread in Nigeria. Do you think this has to do with the economy?
Yes, it has to, because the cost of producing anything today is high. So if 1,000 Naira cannot afford to buy bread, which is people who don't even go, but the electricity, so you have to generate your own electricity, and so if you are buying fuel, you put it into it. You have to pay transportation to go and get those things. That's the reason why you see that our 1,000 Naira note cannot actually afford that bread, like they said, or afford some of the things that ordinarily 1,000 Naira would have afforded, and even make you have change, like balance to say. But unfortunately, we are not there, because even the cost of transportation now, a short distance, is about 300, 400, in some cases 500. These are journeys that we do for 100 Naira before. Now it's about 400, 500 Naira. So I would definitely incur that into my business, and whereby it makes it more expensive. So that's the challenge.
Let's quickly look at, because of time, how can government public, because a lot of Nigerians are almost saying they are giving up, so how can this government be able to rebuild public confidence in 1 second, please?
Well, for me, like I said, one, the issue of corruption, they should be intentional about it. Number two, they should turn the table around by start doing things that affect the citizen directly, so that the citizen will start having the impact of relief by reducing their hardship, coming with policies and inject some fund into some areas that will easily probably bring back subsidy in some area. May not necessarily be on fuel, but subsidize some things just to ease the pressure of Nigeria. I think with that, Nigerians will begin to rebuild their trust towards them. Otherwise, as it stands now, like I said, if it continues like this, it's really, really an disadvantage to the ruling party, because it's making it look like their government and their system is just to point. That may not be the intention, but that is how it's looking like.
Okay, finally, Dr. Sam, what should Nigerians expect from Tinubu administration's economic direction over the next 2 years?
Will I be able to answer this question? This is a very tough one. But, well, for me, I feel, like I said, an economist, think like direct his plan. He will not only win the trust of Nigerians, he will gain the support of Nigerians in a measure that he least expects. but that has to be done when it's intentional about the structuring and rolling out the plan that they have for the next 2 years to ease their hardship. With that, Nigerians will just, align with him.
Okay, last word for Nigerians out there watching.
Last word for Nigeria, right? Isn't APD to call people question with I say to leadership. See ourselves rather than using Mr. Doctor, this, and we decide to use that consciousness of citizenship. I think it will make more sense because it will call them to accountability, and it will make the government also be on their toe, knowing fully that the citizen will always ask them for accountability.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sam Wasinda, for always analyzing the issues of Nigeria this easy. It makes it very easy and makes it easier for us to understand. Thank you for coming as always.
Thank you for having me.
We hope to have you sometime next week. Anyway, to my viewers out there, thank you for staying tuned and watching on the continuation of This Morning on ITV. I am Patricia Oremo Gabriels.
A lovely morning to you and thanks for joining us on ITV News for this time. I am Harry Igboje. We begin with the former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosaka Igbenedion, who has celebrated his 69th birthday in grand style in Benin City. The event attracted dignitaries, family members, political associates and business leaders, including Edo State Governor Senator Mondo Pebolo, the Iyase of Benin Chief Sam Igbe, and the celebrant's father, the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Usawa Igbenedion. Pius Nsogo has more.
65, 68, 69!
The atmosphere at Ugbo residence of the former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Igbenedion, was filled with excitement as guests arrived for the celebration. Leading the dignitaries were the father of the celebrant and Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Usawa Igbenedion, the Iyase of Benin, Chief Sam Igbe, alongside other prominent personalities. The celebrant, Chief Lucky Nosaka Igbenedion, personally received guests with warmth and appreciation. Tributes poured in for the former governor of Edo State, whom many described as a visionary leader, elder statesman, and one of the enduring pillars of modern Edo politics. The Esama of Benin and the Iyase of Benin offered prayers for the celebrant, while members of the Great Women Theatre Troupe entertained guests with cultural performances.
I'm overwhelmed. I'm grateful to God that my own son will come tonight while I'm alive, ill and healthy. I'm enjoying it all. I hope all of them here now are enjoying the birthday.
Special prayers were also offered by the God's Generals Association, led by Bishop Efe Idahosa, who commended Chief Lucky Igbenedion's contributions to peace, unity, and national development.
Praise God, praise God, praise God, praise God, praise God.
Guests from different parts of Nigeria and beyond, including Edo State Governor Senator Monday Ukpeolu, celebrated the former governor for his impact on the political and socio-economic development of Edo State. Many described Chief Lucky Igbenedion as a bridge builder whose leadership and service have positively influenced countless lives.
I wish him good health. I wish him more successes, many more glorious years.
Wish him well and celebrate his birthday. 69 is a lot of years, and given his pedigree, we thank God for his achievement.
Very strong-hearted, very focused. He goes on steadily and steadily and steadily in life. He's 69 today, and we came to rejoice with him.
The Lord will grant him good health to live life that he desires to live. Kindness that God has given to him, he will continue to go deeper and deeper.
He deserves all the good things God gives his own, and he's God's own creator. I wish him a very, very happy birthday.
The celebration took a lively turn as the celebrant and his brothers thrilled guests with heartwarming musical renditions, drawing applause from the gathering. The celebrant, Chief Lucky Igbenedion, his wife, Mrs. Eki Igbenedion, and other family members expressed gratitude to God for a successful birthday celebration.
I'm feeling younger by the day, feeling stronger, I believe more relaxed, more deliberate in my actions, and I give all the glory to God for good health.
A dependable husband, a very responsible father, and a loving grandfather.
Lucky Igbenedion is such a wonderful man, wonderful senior brother. He carries everybody along in his family. He's always there for each and every one of us. I pray that the Almighty God grant him good health and long life.
I wish him, a reward of everything that he has sown into people's lives around the world, not just in Nigeria. So I wish him joy, I wish him health, I wish him prosperity.
The event, marked by elegance, warmth, and goodwill, ended with guests offering prayers for continued good health, strength, and many more years of impactful service for the former Edo State Governor. From Benin, Pius Nsogo, ITV News.
And Edo State Governor Senator Monday Okpebholo has congratulated former Governor Chief Lucky Nosaka Igbenedion on his 69th birthday, describing him as an important figure in the political and democratic history of Edo State. Governor Okpebholo, in a congratulatory message, praised Chief Igbenedion for his years of service to the state and his contributions during Nigeria's return to democratic rule. Governor Okpebholo said the Igbenedion administration made notable contributions in education, infrastructure, economic development, and governance. He outlined landmark achievements recorded by the Igbenedion administration to include the establishment of Edo State Polytechnic Usain to promote technical and vocational education, road projects and housing developments in Benin City, as well as estates for civil servants and security personnel. The governor also prayed for continued strength and well-being for the former governor and his family. Chief Lucky Igbenedion served as the governor of Edo State from 1999 to 2007 and was the first civilian governor of the state in the Fourth Republic. Chief Igbenedion also served as chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, where he worked with other governors on national and regional issues. And moving on, the member representing Ovia Federal Constituency, Right Honorable Barrister Mosede Gabriela Igbenedion, has extended warm birthday felicitations to our elder brother, His Excellency Chief Lucky Nosaka Igbenedion, former governor of Edo State, in celebration of his new age. Honorable Mosede Igbenedion, in the goodwill message she personally signed, thanked Almighty God for his grace, mercy, and faithfulness over the life of the former governor, noting that his life journey and achievements remain a reflection of God's abundant blessings and divine preservation. The federal parliamentarian described Chief Lucky Igbenedion as a distinguished statesman whose years of service, leadership, and commitment to the growth and development of Edo State have continued to inspire many within and beyond the state. Honorable Omosede further prayed for God to bless him with continued good health, wisdom, peace, and long life, while wishing him many more fruitful years filled with joy, fulfillment, and greater accomplishments. She reaffirmed her admiration for his enduring legacy and invaluable contributions to society as family members, friends, and associates celebrate his remarkable life and impact. And still on the news, it was a massive show of support and jubilation in Ovia Southwest local government area of Edo State as the member representing Ovia Northeast, Ovia Southwest Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Barrister Mosede Gabriela Igbenedion, was endorsed as the sole candidate for the constituency ahead of the party primaries. The endorsement meeting attracted the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Right Honorable Dennis Idahosa, party leaders, local government party executives, women leaders, youths and supporters from across the Ovia axis. Ofurea Neto has more.
The atmosphere was electrifying as supporters and party faithful gathered at the Igwabazwa Town Hall in Ovia Southwest Local Government Area for the endorsement meeting of Right Honorable Mosede Gabriela Igbenedion. Welcoming the federal lawmaker, the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Right Honorable Dennis Idahosa, called for unity among party members and urged them to support her return to the House of Representatives.
By the grace of God, when all of us support my sister, Mosede Gabriela Igbenedion, I know my sister, she no go let us shame. She will do everything with our support. She will give us plenty projects.
The chairman of the APC in Ovia Southwest Local Government Area, Mr. Emmanuel Ugbomo, also appealed to party faithful to adopt and support her for another term, describing her as a worthy representative of the constituency.
Please, men and women, I beg you, our sister, may she go complete the 4 years when they come through.
In her remarks, Right Honorable Mosede Gabriela Igbenedion appreciated the warm reception and assured constituent of more developmental projects and quality representation.
I want to thank you all, the APC family. You will be seeing more of me. Not just more of me, but more projects and empowerment coming to the good people of Ovia Southwest and Ovia constituency.
A motion for her endorsement was moved by the Deputy Governor, Right Honorable Dennis Idahosa, adopted by Honorable Damien Kalayolo, and seconded by Professor Ipomosa Omorodio, before a unanimous vote of confidence was passed by party leaders and supporters.
Right Honorable Mosede Gabriela is our sole candidate.
The lawmaker also thanked the governor and deputy governor for their support, pledging to complement the effort of Governor Monday Okpebholo through meaningful project and stronger representation at the National Assembly.
Indeed, I am grateful for this opportunity to go and serve the people of Ovia Federal Constituency under the flagship of the APC.
From Ovia Southwest Local Government Area of Edo State, Ofure and Neto, ITV News.
And with that, we've come to the end of ITV News for this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Harry Igboje. TMI Socials is up next. Please stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning. This is TMI Socials. Welcome on board. I am Anwoluakpo Stevens. So better still call me a social media butterfly. Now, in a video that has now gone viral of our president right there in France, where our president says, and I quote, "If an African child is assured of a good sandwich, in the classroom or 1 egg a day, there will be no fear of learning. Now, this conversation has sparked reactions online and offline, and let's take a feel at what he really said before we go over to your reactions.
If an African child is assured of a good sandwich in a classroom or 1 egg a day, there'll be no fear of learning. If an African child is assured of a good sandwich in a classroom or 1 egg a day, there'll be no fear of learning.
There you have it. Now, how did you take this online? Let's see tweets and reaction. This user wrote on X. If we could have our first tweet, this one says, well, he's right. Any child that eats at least 1 egg daily all their life would grow very healthy with normal daily food. Oh, okay. Another user reaction wrote, Nigerian politicians really know how to oversimplify very complex realities. While still on the story, this user says, a sandwich and 1 egg, that's the presidential vision for Africa's largest economy. While Nigerian graduates are relocating to Canada, the UK, and Dubai in their thousands, President thinks the solution is breakfast. The jackpot wave just got a brand new recruitment poster. Okay, well, still on this beat, this user wrote, okay, I think that's all we have on that story. Now, in another development, well, this time around, hashtag Peter Obi currently trending online as he says he wants to be a 1-term president because of stability. He says, and I quote, I would not stay a day longer than 4 years, even if a gun was actually in his head. Take a look.
Why would you want to be a 1-term president?
For stability. I will not stay a day with a gun in my head longer than 4 years. What we have now is only 2 years that somebody used to borrow more than all the previous government put together. It's only 2 years that Nigeria have entered into the 100th country of the world. A president of Nigeria can stay in Abuja and 200 people die in Jos or in Niger or in Benue, and you're still sitting here.
So what would you do? What would you do differently?
When you go to theater of war, you know how to contribute. So they failed in everything. I said, you create.
Oh, well, there you have it. How did Obedient especially take this online and netizens? Let's see what you have been saying. Okay, we have this tweet from Bayo Onanuga, spokesperson to the president. He wrote, if you believe Peter Obi's promise to serve only 1 term as president, you will believe anything, consider his record. Now, while in Abga, he's famously placed himself under a curse, vowing never to leave the party that made him governor. He gave his words to the Ikemba, even on the deathbed, swearing loyalty and fidelity to Abga. Yet, Peter Obi's pledges have always been short-lived, and he went on and on and on. Okay, now moving over to all the reactions online regarding this conversation. This user wrote, Peter Obi saying he wants to serve only 1 term is politically smart because it calms the North on zoning and makes him look less power hungry. But Nigerians have also heard many I am different promises before. The bigger debate shouldn't be on 1 term or 2 terms. It should be, can any president actually fix Nigeria's economy, debt and insecurity in just 4 years without borrowing heavily too? Good question. Well, still on this story, this user says, after 4 years, he will come back and tell us he didn't have enough time. Well, we'll see how that goes. If he becomes the president of Nigeria. Now, away from that, let's move over to Port Harcourt. It seems the politics in Port Harcourt, the drama really never ends. Well, this time around, Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara has come out to dismiss speculations that he wants to defect to the Nigeria Democratic Congress. Now, he insisted that he remains a member of the All Progressive Congress, the APC. Well, he stated this yesterday in Port Harcourt amid rumors of immediate defection from the ruling party ahead of the election come 2027. Let's take a listen.
I know that there have been a lot of drama in the media, one story and another. I'm a member of the All Progressive Congress, and nothing has changed. People should stop using whatever situation that they pick up from the social media or their own interpretation of any situation to present me wrongly. I have not gone anywhere. I'm still a member of the All Progressive Congress, and I remain a member. Whatever happens, what is most important is supporting the overall interests.
There you have it. He has not gone anywhere. He's still a member, the 001 in Rivers State. So now let's listen to or have reactions on this story. Really hilarious one. Well, Benjamin Eze says, you should never have been a governor in the first place. We should not believe social media reports. Or yeah, you tell us the truth by yourself now. Another user on X still reacting to this beat. This one wrote, anyway, I never voted for him in the first place, so I have no reason to be angry at him. I genuinely wanted him to play smart and fight hard, but it seems he has other options best for him. I wish him all the best as just a member of APC, as he said he is. Now, finally, on the story, this user wrote, his words means absolutely nothing in my opinion, because the same person who said he don't even want to go back to government house but yet went and was basically on his knees, NDC don't even need such people. Men who can't stand by their words are not worth calling men out. Well, take it out to the bag for the men though. Anyway, away from that, away from Nigeria, let's move over to China, where China has been trending because the president of America, Donald Trump, visited the Chinese president Xi Jinping yesterday, and we saw a bit of handshake. Well, just to let you know that Trump, who also visited China in 2017 in his first term, said the two leaders have known each other personally for longer than any other U.S. or Chinese president. Let's have a feel of how it went down in China.
Great. Great place. Incredible. China's beautiful.
Now, one of the world's most powerful presidents. Anyway, how did you take this online? Let's see what you have been saying. This user wrote, China rolling out the red carpet for a president they actually respect. America is back and winning. Another user on X says, let's see what we have. Sometimes I don't think the Chinese are as bad as we have been taught to think of them as. Am I wrong? Well, I don't know. Anyway, still staying outside the country. In a video that has now gone viral, we get to see Kemi Badenoch deliver a fiery critique of Sturmer's Labour government. Responding to the King's speech, the Conservative leader Badenoch highlighted Labour's broken promises on cancel tax, energy bills and pensions, while mocking their internal turmoil with lines like they can't even lead a coup. Take a listen.
They are so arrogant. They want to lead our country. They can't even lead a coup. It is so obvious, Mr. Speaker. that they cannot handle being in government. They cannot handle it. They hate the responsibility. They hate having to take tough decisions. They prefer scratching the itches that they had in opposition. Giving inflation-busting pay rises to the unions. 28% for the doctors who are still striking. Nearly 2 years, they are still striking. Handing out more benefits to the only people who will still vote for them because Labour don't understand that poverty.
Well, we'll take 2 reactions on this story and let's see how you took this online. This user wrote on X. Let's have a first tweet. This one says, "Well done, Kemi. Outstanding statement. I do like to think that the king and queen got home to the palace and sat and watched and giggled as much as I did. Outstanding." Another user wrote on X, "You are a fantastic speaker, Kemi. Yesterday's speech was straight to the point and you took no prisoner." Oh, finally on TMI socials, in a video that has now gone viral, we get to see Pastor Peace Ebiome, the wife of Pastor David Ebiome. She has advised married women to be cautious about forming close friendships with divorced women who are unwilling to reconcile with their former partners or remarry. Take a look.
Don't follow a divorcee as your friend, even if it's your sister. Teach her either she reconcile with the husband or she remarry. We will tell you that men are not important, but at the same time she goes at the back. I made sample of so many single ladies, and a lot. They told me that some of them told me the truth. That is a lie. That even as they are in church, they follow men. They make up someone, open up so much to me. That's why she wants to remarry. Leave those things they are doing. Telling you that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who is it that the man can do. If the man is not important, why are you sleeping with them?
Oh, well, stop fooling me. Is that what Mama is saying? I don't know. But let's take 2 reactions on this story. Really hilarious one online. This user wrote, "When you advise women, try advise men too. No man can be forced to stay married. If a woman meets a man who doesn't want to stay married, what then can she do than to walk away? In such a situation, is she a bad person that another woman needs to avoid?" Okay, great question there. Well, finally, this user wrote on X, "Well, she's exhibiting the signs of going through a lot, but enduring it all. Someone that is happy in marriage will not sound so bitter and so grace lacking. I pray she finds love in herself first, then in her own marriage and friendships." Well, on that note, we wrap up TMI Socials today. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I am Anuoluwakpo Stevens. And from all of us on This Morning on ITV, Lagos, Abuja, and right here in Edo State, we'll see you again next week, God willing. Please stay safe and goodbye.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.